Hello and welcome back to Swapnil's analysis. I am Swapnil. Today we are going to discuss a very interesting poem by George Herbert named Death. George Herbert is a very foremost devotional lyricist of 17th century, contemporary of John Donne. He is also known for his metaphysical poems, but he is better known for his religious poems, and therefore he is called as devotional lyricist. So all his life, George Herbert, he was a rector, he was a priest. He even had studied at Trinity College, Cambridge, just to be a priest. So he wrote the poems, and just before his death, he sent the manuscript to his friend Nicholas Ferrar and asking him that please publish these poems if it is worthy of uplifting any dejected soul, otherwise burn it, or otherwise burn this manuscript. And after his death, his poetic collection was published in 1633. The title of that poetic collection was The Temple. And these poems become so popular that by the 1670 or 1680, the 8th or ninth edition of this poetic collection, The Temple, they were published. So George Herbert, he became so popular because of his religious poem and his connection between the God, connection between the soul, and his direct conversation with the God. His poems, throughout his poems, he does a direct conversation with the God, and he was a very true believer of the Bible and the God. So, as we all know, that people they started raising some doubts in the Bible after the publication of Origin of Species in the Victorian era. Before that, all the people, all the poets, they were very strong believer of the Bible and the Jesus Christ. So the subject here he is dealing with, the subject is death, which we all are very afraid of. We all are afraid of only one thing, and that is death. We do not think about death. But what has happened? This poem is divided into two parts. First part deals with the death, how we human beings perceived death before the religion. Here he talks about the Christ, but after the birth of religion, the concept of death in some way has got changed. So or has undergone the change under the in the psyche of the human beings. So it is not only applicable to the religious, the Christian faith believers or Christian believers, it is applicable to all the human beings, that how the concept of death has got changed after the birth of the religion. So first, the poem total have six stanzas. The first three stanzas deals with the death, how we human beings perceived death before the birth of the Christ, and how we human beings perceived death after the death of the Christ. So this is the in general division of the poem, and poem generally deals with the death and how we human beings have undergone in our understanding, in our comprehension regarding the death. Today, we have accepted that death is the absolute truth of human life. The only reality we have, that in the end we all are going to die. That thing now we have understood, or we acknowledge this thing, okay, that one day we all are going to die. That is the reality. But in the past, people they were very scared of the death. People they were very, means even today we are also very scared for of the death. But one thing we know, that one day, okay, we all are going to die. But these people, they had no idea that why some people they go on living at the age of 80, 90, or why some people they died at a very early age. So people they were very afraid of the death, and they considered death as their enemy. So the first three stanza deals with the human psyche regarding the death before the Christ, and the second part of the poem, its last three stanza, deals with how human beings have changed in accepting the death after Jesus Christ. Okay, so let us start our discussion. So here, first stanza, death, thou wast once an uncouth, hideous thing, nothing but bones. The sad effect of sadder groans. Thy mouth was open, but thou could not sing. So here he's saying that how death was perceived by we human beings earlier. Earlier here means before Jesus Christ, or let us consider in general before the birth of religion. Okay, so here he is directly addressing to the death, that death, thou was once an uncouth and hideous thing, nothing but bones. That you were earlier considered as very ugly thing, nothing but skeleton, because only skeleton remain as uh, the proof of human life. So after the death, the people they would find only the skeleton, and the flesh has become turned into the dust. So here he says that you were earlier considered as a very ugly thing, nothing but the skeleton. So people they were very afraid of you. The sad effect of sadder groans. So people they were means they ran away from the death. They considered death as a very sad thing, as a very bad thing that could happen to the human life. Thy mouth was open, but thou could not sing. Means a person when he would die, he would become a he would become a lifeless thing. He could not sing, he could not move. So death was considered as a very bad thing, a very sad thing that happened to the human beings. Second stanza. For we consider thee as at some 6 or 10 years hence, after the loss of life and sense, flesh being turned to dust and bones to sticks. So here is saying that what our understanding was of death, means he is addressing to the death, that what our understanding of you was that after the death, after 6 to 10 years of the person's death, he would turn into the bones, he would turn into the skeleton, and his flesh would turn into the dust. His flesh would fade away from his body, and there remained nothing but the skeleton, nothing but the stones. We looked on this side of thee, shooting short, where we did find the shells of fledged souls left behind, dry dust, which sheds no tear, but may extort. Here he's saying that we perceived you. He's still addressing the death, and he's saying that we perceived you. We looked at you from a very bad point of view. What was that bad point of view? That after that, only the skeleton of human beings would remain. Like the bird after coming out of shell, he would fly away and there would remain only the eggshell. In the same way, after the death, there would only remain the bones, the skeletons of human being, and that we consider very bad, because these people they had no idea that what was happening to the human beings and where would that soul of human being would go. So now here I would like to introduce to a thing which is you will find very common in all the religion, and that is the concept of hell and heaven. After the birth of religion, what we all believe, that there is a new life. We do not die, means only body dies, and our soul, if we have done some good works while we were alive, then our soul goes to the heaven, otherwise it goes to the hell. So the concept of hell and heaven, you will find it is identical in each and every religion on this planet. So this has changed after the birth of religion, because George Herbert, he was a Christian by faith, therefore he is talking about Christ. But concept of death has got changed after the birth of religion. People started accepting death, believing that their soul, it will go to the heaven. Only the body would remain, and only body would turn into the dust. Now, the most interesting part of the poem commences here. Second part. But since our Saviour's death did put some blood into thy face. He is still addressing the death. But since our Savior here is a Jesus Christ. Since our Savior's death did put some blood into thy face, thou art grown fair and full of grace, much in request, much sought for as a good. See, in the first stanza, he considers death as a hideous thing. And in the fourth stanza, he considers death as a good thing. Why? Because we all know that Jesus Christ, he has sacrificed his life for the sins of human beings, for the good of human beings. He actually embraced death for the fortunes of other people, for the sake of other people. And therefore, after the death of Jesus Christ, people realize that death is a very glorified thing, death is a very good thing. And therefore he says that after, but since our Savior's death did put some blood into thy face, thou art grown fair and full of grace. After the death of Jesus Christ, you have become very fair and very acceptable, a kind of a glorious thing that people sought after you. Why? Because you are considered as a good thing. Imagine what has happened, that there are so many freedom fighters, there are so many intellectuals, they have died just to prove that how right they were. Even the Socrates, he accepted death because he was right. And the contemporary dispensation on the Greece, they considered that Socrates, he was wrong because he was challenging the established customs of the society. So death, it was believed a good thing to actually to attract the attention of the people. If you read the human history, you'll find that so many freedom fighters, they have happily embraced the death just to attract the attention of the people. And in this way, death has become a good thing, and this has proved by Jesus Christ that death is a not bad thing. Earlier we human beings, earlier means before the birth of the religion. After the birth of the religion, we all have realized that if we live a good and happy life, we will find a place in heaven after the death. So death has become a good thing. Therefore, he says in the fourth line of the fourth stanza that much in request means people are after you, much sought for as a good thing. Now you have become a good thing when only after the death of the Jesus Christ. For we do how behold thee gay and glad, as at doomsday, when souls shall wear their new array, and all thy bones with beauty shall be clad. So here he says that people had knew that doomsday means the last day of this planet. So here, that now people can accept death in a very happy manner, because death is considered as a good thing. Why good thing? Because after death, it is believed and it is said in all the religion that a new life commences, that we go to the heaven, we go to the hell, and there is a new life, and there is a kind of a belief in a resurrection. So therefore, earlier we used to believe, we human beings, we used to believe that death was the end of life. But after the death of Jesus Christ, now we have started believing that death is not the end of life. Death is the beginning of the new life, the life after the death. That is, he was talking about here. See, in today's world, we all know that there is no such a thing like heaven or hell, or there is no such a thing like life after the death, or we still have not figured out what exactly happened when we die. Okay, so try to understand the contemporary belief that George Herbert, he was believing that after the death of Jesus Christ, people started accepting, or people started embracing death in a very happy way. Why? Because they believe that there is a life after death too, like Jesus Christ. Last stanza. Therefore, we can go die at sleep, and trust half that we have unto an honest, faithful grave, making our pillows either down or dust. So, therefore, he says that when we realized that there is a life after the death, and this has been proved by our savior, that is Jesus Christ, so now we have started accepting death as a sleep. If even though if we die in a sleep, we do not have problem. Why? Because we believe grave as a good thing, we believe death as a good thing. So here George Herbert, he has given us a new perspective regarding the death, and I think it is a very good poem, contemporary, regarding or considering his era, considering his time. Okay, George Herbert, he did not know about the evolution of man. George Herbert did not have any idea about the scientific, but still this poem is very good and very philosophical and gives a new perspective regarding the death. Okay, if you have liked my presentation, uh, please subscribe to my channel, and thanks for watching.